Hey, Dad Boy. You've probably heard me talk about this a long time ago. This is IL2, the classic version, 1946. You got me, Pacific Fighters. I don't even know, but I started a United States Marine Corps campaign. Started out the Battle of Guadalcanal, actually, in 42, with the expectation of, like, however long it took me, you know, get through the entire war, and then every time I play this game, every time I come back to it, I'll be like, hey, maybe, after 5 years, I'll be in 43. But I ended up getting bullied down onto the runway. Had to throw the ship down under attack from zeros after my whole squadron got shot down, and suffered severe burns and was out for the entire war. And came back, and my squadron's no longer flying Wildcats. I got to go straight into the F4U. So if we come here, we can go to the squadron documents, and so these are all the mission reports from Guadalcanal. And if you come down, there's some new stuff here. I don't know when. Yeah, it doesn't list when that stuff happened. Well, what can I say? History of all the people getting medals and stuff as we go through everything. Oh, hey, it lists my hospital date. Well, why doesn't it list my Actually, yeah, 42. There's me getting my medals. Well, I guess they're saying that because it's basically the same thing as dying. I don't know. I didn't know they had this list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros. Neat. These N1s are easy kills. I look forward to those. Oh, but yeah, let's get to it. A bunch of stuff to get set here. Marines have made their channel. This is where they landed. So they've managed to fight across. Kaboom, and now our Navy can support both sides. We've got Mount Suribachi isolated. That'll disappear, and eventually, there won't be a flag raising in this game. It doesn't mention that, but it'll be exciting when all that anti-aircraft fire is gone. There's a lot of guns on that. And as you can see, we're going to be bombing right by it. And you see, this is the thing about the automated missions, because the AI is probably going to try to follow this exactly and come in along this route. I'd rather come in here and then swoop in, swoop out, I think would probably be the better thing to do. So here's the airfield. You can kind of see where the runway is just in the topo map of the verticality. And so we'll be hitting back down the southern edge of the airfield. Yep, enemy airfield, sector C1. Fully operational, very dangerous, heavy flak. That's not good. They've never said that before, and the flak's been heavy. So if that was normal flak and not heavy flak, then I'm in for it. 2 500-pounders. You see, here's where you can get yourself in trouble. Right? This is what some people will think they should do. Let's go and get the biggest bombs. But the problem is yeah, we can't take off with that much. Ooh, AP Havar. Yes, please. Hey. Mm-hmm. Oh, those are the regular. I want the APs. Mm-hmm. Oof, getting off the deck with that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but we'll do it. Ooh. Mm. Night Fighter. This is the Night Fighter, default Night Fighter skin. I like it, but I kind of like the stars. It's part of the era. All right. That's a lot of weight. This will be one of the bigger, heavier takeoffs I've done. Right now I'm moving my throttle up and down to calibrate it. Full left rudder, full right rudder, full left toe brake, full right toe brake. Sweep out our controls here. We're going to put our trims all the way up, all the way down, middle pitch trim, and then put just a dash up. Left, right, roll rudder, and center, and left, right trim, and slight right rudder. Okay. Throttle all the way down, RPMs all the way up. Let's go. Oh shit, I'm leading the flight. Didn't see that coming. Just give it a little bit of flap. Let's go ahead and put that all the way down, and then put it up to calibrate it. And then I'm actually going to look at it and just put the flaps in the middle, so we're dealing with half flap. We're going to wait for our flight to get their wings down. We're going to look at the map. We're going to get ourselves situated with the situation. So we are heading towards Emo. So pretty much straight ahead, we'll see the island, and then we'll go ahead and go. So the right's going to take off first. I think I was supposed to go first, but I'm taking my sweet ass time. Let's go ahead and throttle up. Put a little bit of right rudder. Wait for that right rudder to kick in. Close these for maximum speed. 80, 85, 90. We're going to keep the nose. We're not going to pull. We're going to wait.
240, altitude.
Oh, that was nerve-wracking, but it's done. And now we're going to slowly bring the flaps all the way up. And we're also going to go ahead and pop this open to 80, 75-ish%. I'm going to come over to my pitch trim. I'm going to start pitching in the stick until the force goes away and the nose just hangs where I want it. And where I want it is where the speed is staying right at 140, just like that. And this is pretty much close to or at the F4U1D's best climb speed. And now I'm also going to go ahead and look at the ball right there underneath the turn indicator. Give it just a little bit of right roll from the torque of the engine. And then last, I'm going to put in a little bit of right rudder, and then I'm going to bounce back to the roll trim. And then basically getting the plane directionally situated is more or less a game of kind of bouncing between those a couple times iteratively. And you know, keeping and maintaining that 140 while I'm doing this so that everything's correct. I'm going to take a little nose up out. Glance over at my temperatures, they're all good. And now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to pull the power back to something a bit more sustainable. So pretty much power at 80, or we want our prop pitch at 90. And so basically the way the advice I give in this game to manage engines, and this is decent advantage if you're in a historical simulator that simulates engine stress and you might blow up the engine It's generally good guidance for most simulators. Real life is a little more complicated than this, but generally speaking, you can treat your engine as having three power settings: emergency, full power, and which is climb power, and then your reduced power, which is your cruise power. And your full power, everything to the firewall forward, and then your reduced power is your emergency warp power is full forward. Your military power, which is 100%, is you'll take off whatever your emergency power is, take off 5% of the RPM and 10% of the manifold pressure. And then you should be able to, from a military perspective, maintain that long enough to do sustained like combat high energy operations with that. Whereas in war emergency power, you can only do for a little bit and then you overheat. And then you have to go to reduced power. And the way to find reduced power is take 10%, so two 5% increments off of your propeller RPM, and 10% or 20% total, but another 10% off of your manifold pressure. So that leaves you with everything full forward, -5, -10, and -10, -20. And even if you don't have a simulator that's giving you like that readout right there, that's called a techno chat on the right that tells me what power my throttle's set at. Very important for, you know, when you're looking for feedback, because a lot of people in this era of this game would be using the keyboard for that. Oh shit, man. What's our altitude? We're going through like 4,000. There's Ewo. Oh, that's right. I changed my settings. Man, this game is awesome. There's been no flight simulator that does like squad tactics and the way group fights go in this game quite like this one does. Where's number 4? Are we in finger 4? Is he on my left somewhere? Hang on. I got flight lead problems. I'm gonna go ahead and put us over 30 degrees. Keeping 140. There we go. I'm at 30 degrees. Still holding. We can pull up a little bit more. Get that speed down a little bit. I don't know why they're over there. That seems kind of weird. Looks like 5 and 6 are joining back on me like they should. Thank you. There's F6Fs up there. When I bring this circle back around towards Ewo, because I'm doing this circle basically to let my slower elements catch back up to me so that we can be a 6-ship fighting force. You can see all the bullets flying on Ewo. This simulator actually does spawn in ground troops, and just like the pilots have different skill levels, they actually have different skill levels of AI that have different hit rates and slightly different AI algorithms and things that spawn with the ground troops. It's super basic compared to modern stuff, but it's kind of cool that they made the attempt and that there actually is kind of something running back there, and it does take into account like who shoots who and whose tanks and equipment on the islands and stuff are getting blown up. It does influence the rate and stuff that the front lines move at. I hear someone taking some power out near me. It sounds like some more fighters have probably joined the formation. Yep, that's what I wanted to see. Huh. So we got a flight of 4 now loaded up with all sorts of bombs. So I'm going to look at my altitude. Yeah, we're at like 6,000 feet, so you actually don't want to be this high for a ground attack mission. So I'm going to go ahead and stop our climb, which is going to require me trimming out some of this pitch. And as I gain speed, the stance of the ship is going to change a lot. For now, I'll just drop the nose to the horizon and go out and give up altitude for speed. And the engine's finally getting hot, so now I'm going to go ahead and pull my prop pitch back to take some heat out of the engine. We just reduced the number of explosions. And then that's also going to change our trim situation. So this time around, I'm going to take the rudder out first, which is causing me to pull to the right with my stick. So I'm holding in that right pressure with my stick now, and then I'm using aileron trim to relieve that pressure. And there we go. Boom. Lateral's fairly trimmed in. And now we've found at this reduced power setting, we're going to go ahead also and pop our radiators all the way open so that we can get any extra stuff we can. Look at that! Japanese fighters.
Attention, fighters, 2 o'clock. This is 6, 5. Anybody, get him off me. Get him off me. This is 3. Copy. Attacking bandit. This is 5. Roger. Here we go. Attacking bandit. This is 5. Firing rocket.
Well, hey, who knows? They might even hit, but I think everyone just dropped their shit. Not good.
This is 2. Roger. Regrouping. This is 3. Roger. Regrouping. This is 4. Roger. Regrouping. Attention, fighters, 2 o'clock. 3. Anybody? Any help over here? Number 6. This is 6. Anybody, get him off me. This is 5. I'll be right there. This is 1. I got one. This is 5. Damn. Get him off me.
All that stuff looks important.
This is 3.
Nope.
3. Bail out. Bail out. This is 3. I'm taking hits. Attention, fighters.
There we go, I got rid of the bombs. I should be able to do a lot more now.
Return to base immediately. Over.
I'm gonna try and get a sense of the tactical picture here. Look around a little bit with my mirror. Look at this guy. Very gentle, long pulls right now, trying to keep my speed. Wow, so much for that. I'm doing 140.
6 o'clock. This is 6.
Something went wrong with those bombs.
This is 5. Firing rocket. This is 6. 5. Damn. I got it. Hang on. Number 6. Vince. You're 5 o'clock. This is 5. I'm bailing out. This is 5. I'm taking hits.
Yeah, F-18T your heart out.
Number 4. Nice shot. 4. Anybody? Get him off me. This is 2. Roger, beginning our attack. This is 3. Roger, beginning our attack. This is 4. Roger, beginning our attack. This is 6. I got one. This over here.
Alright, that's enough time on target. Let's get out of here.
This is 4. I'm bailing out. This is 2. This is Roger. Warm it up. I'm taking this hit. 3. Copy. Rejoin. This is 4. Copy. Rejoin. Number 4. Return to base immediately. Over. This is 1. This is 2. I got it. Hang on. Get him off me. Number 1. Good deal is going down. Firing rocket. This is 4. This is 3 and 3. Let's hit. This is 3. I'm on fire. Ah! Number 2. Jump. Hit the silk.
Now, it might seem like a strange thing to lower my engine down when I'm facing someone at a higher altitude like this. You'd think making up for that altitude difference would be the first objective here. But in actuality, I need to cool down that engine. That's the first objective right now. I'm also going to go ahead and get red flight on fighters.
4. Roger. We'll take care of them.
And we'll see if that other guy shows up.
Damn it, I'm hit.
And we've got an F6 F1 as well in trouble here. We'll go help him out. And this is when that emergency power comes in. You need to pick up speed. I need 200. Trading altitude here, and then I'm really beginning my pull. And now I'm looking for him. Can't. No, I'm gonna unload. 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 Ooh, fix that.
This is 2. Anybody, get him off me. This is 2. Mayday, mayday, I'm going down.
Shit! Okay, no, that was a head-on.
This is 4. Copy. Staging bandit. Attention, fighters. 11 o'clock.
Jesus, where are all these guys coming from? Alright. Here's what needs to happen. We need to get out of here and just start working our way back to the fleet. We're fast, we're faster than them. So that's what I'm gonna do. Friendly ships got anti-aircraft guns.
4. Damn. Get him off me. This is 4. Copy. Returning to base.
Who knows, man? You work hard, you might even live. Alright. Alright. Actually making progress and tripping out this damage.
Damn. Get him off me.
It's not critical yet. I'm going to keep the pedal to the metal here. Keep it going. That gun sight on the horizon. Well, I've been giving commentary this entire time and didn't realize I never took that back down after I took a drink of water who knows how long ago. Now the hope is that 4, if he pulls away, he should be able to get away just like I am. The F4U1D is significantly faster than the N1K1. And that was the Japanese army showing up. We struck a hornet's nest there. So probably what happened was that airfield put out a cap, and that cap was in the process of coming back. And we had the good fortune to not be where the cap was when we engaged the island, which is good because I kind of got to focus on the CAS mission for a bit. But after that, things got rough. So I'm going to go ahead. We'll pull our pitch back 85. Power back to 80. And then we'll just see where that gets us speed-wise. That's also going to fuck our trim all to hell because we got a big old hole in the wing. I'm proud of this plane. That was a head-on. Like I saw them whiz past me. I'm surprised that didn't take my wing off. And we're also not going to go straight into the landing pattern like I usually do. I'm going to stay at a relatively low altitude, and I'm just going to feel the ship out in the landing configuration. When you have lots of damage like this, in real life, the first question would be, are the flaps going to come down symmetrically? In real life, a World War II pilot would, especially with a hydraulic plane that has dual actuators, which I think this plane does, you would not want to, when you have one wing damaged and the other damaged, activate the flap system. Just on the off chance that it's going to give you what's called an asymmetric deployment. But asymmetric deployments, conveniently enough, don't exist in this simulation. So we're just going to go ahead and slow her down. And we're going to go ahead and get the flaps all the way out. And we're going to take them up. Yep, so that's why we do controllability checks. So now I know I have tail damage. Because basically what happened there was when you put out flaps, it creates a tail down moment. Because the flaps are at the back of the wing, so it makes the wing want to tilt nose down. And normally you pull back on the stick to fight that. But when you pull back on the stick, it raises the elevators, and the elevators getting pushed down is what pushes the nose up. So if you damage your elevators, you can't control it. So what I need to do is I need to get back on the manual flap control, and I just need to put flap down. We need to be at a more representative speed and just see how much flap I can get away with. Now this isn't looking good, guys. Jesus. Yeah, so that's like a 120 approach speed. Let's put the gear out, see how she responds to that. Get the hook out. And, so our new landing speed is going to be 115. And our new approach speed from the field, how the controls feel, is going to be like 122 or so. And so real quick, I'm going to see how our speed decays when I pull the power back, where it starts to decay. Okay. And now, last but not least, I'm going to trim back in. We're at full right trim. It's taking a significant amount of right foot here. Okay, well, now that we're trimming the roll-in, that's starting to change. So now maybe I can take some of this left out. No, we are not. holding altitude. A little more power. Alright, so we've got that. We've got our new speed limits and everything set. I'm going to work on turning it around. And we're going to try and put it on the carrier if we can. And it does feel a little weird to be driving around the landing configuration, but the nice thing now is I can kind of get sloppy because it's trimmed into exactly what the plane's going to want to do coming into the deck. And, you know, it's these little things that these simulators teach you. While the actual procedures in real life would differ, the general practice of, hey, I'm going to make sure that I have that longitudinal, I can spell it, I promise, command authority, that pitch command authority, and to look out for that flap situation, because it happens to pretty much any plane that's been nibbled at by long-range machine gun bullets from behind, or that's taken some damage. So maybe that wasn't head-on damage, because that would be, that's damage that's usually a bit closer tied to, you know, people behind you. Alright, there's home base. So I'm going to go ahead and trade this speed for altitude. I'll go ahead and pitch up until we're back closer to our approach of like 125 or so. And we're going to give it a little bit more power so that we can hold this. I'm going to go ahead actually and go put the RPMs all the way up. Did they turn? Oh, that's not our boat. That is. So, hey, I don't want to fuck things up. So I'm going to take a whole bunch out. Do some more out. I'll put my camera up. Could have sworn there were indicator lights for the gear in this. Alright, so we're on our approach speed. We're going to have to raise our approach speed a little bit so I can have some visibility. Let's do 130. So now I can kind of see. Ooh, 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 don't let that get out of control now. Whew. Oh, man, I've got a habit of breaking airplanes. Oh, man, I don't know if they're ever going to let me take up a group anymore. So we lost number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. It looks like my wingman made it. I don't know where he was in that massive dogfight that was getting everyone killed. The real question is, we did some AAA. We did artillery got destroyed. This stuff was probably by naval gunfire. I think this was us. Doesn't, oh, ship destroyed. I must have lost a landing vehicle there. Oh, and then you go offshore. Oh, that's because he bailed out. So I'm the only one that made it back. And I got credit for a landing. That's unfair. Man, when I was flight lead, so I'd be like in this pair of 2 after the group of 4. I had quite the reputation for getting the people to become, hey, they took Suribachi. So all those guns that were shooting at us from Mount Suribachi and were shooting at our people down here aren't going to be anymore. And as something that you notice, all the gunfire from this couldn't hit this. That's why we landed there in the first place. It's shielded just a little bit. So now we have this foothold, and now comes the long slog of Iwo Jima. First, trying to go up the shoreline, and then eventually cut across and take part of the airfield. And these hills up here are where most of the really crazy, horrible stories. It was real. This is the real slog. Let's see, F4U using escorting. I love escorts because the fun thing about escorting, I don't have to carry bombs. Hell yeah. That means now when we get into a dogfight, I'll actually be able to fight. Alright, let's go. Alright, so the first thing I need to do is reset my trims. Alright, let's go. Correcting only with right rudder. Oh man, it feels so different to take off without all those bombs. So we're going to go ahead, level off a little bit, collect 140, nose up till the needle stops moving, and there we go. And now we're going to go ahead actually and take her down to military power.
Heading 090. Altitude 01.
Yeah, we took off facing Nemo. So more or less, I'm going to go forward, make contact with Ewo. If we, at some point, I'm going to do a loop to collect my squadron. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go ahead and pull back to 90-85, and that gives my wingmates some extra power to work with to catch up with me, both in terms of climb and speed. And I'm just going to do a very light, lazy 30-degree turn, keeping the speed at 140. That's going to cut into my climb rate a little bit, but it's not too bad. And once I find looking out at the nose of the plane to move the horizon. There we go. Manage that. Put it right there in the corner of that. There we go. There we go. We're grouping up now.
Heading 330. Altitude 05.
I knew there was something wrong. My air brake was out. Oh wow, yeah. That's good. Now we're really cooking. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and just keep the engine pulled back. There's no reason to overheat it right now. Takes a couple minutes to get over to EWO. Take a moment and just trim in for the climb at this power setting.
Heading 210. Altitude 05.
Alright, got everything trimmed in.
Heading 240. Altitude 05.
So right now I'm taking my men and I'm pushing out ahead of the fighters. They're still regrouping and doing all that stuff. So I'm kind of breaking the mission that was planned. And using my experience to just know I'm going to want to climb nice and high and get high. Crisscross over the route that I'm trying to go instead of going in a straight line. So, you know, go up here and then crisscross down, crisscross, crisscross. Because these turns give you, that's just good practice. The hell are those? See, this is why we're up here. So those are two possible targets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn ahead of them. Because remember, my friendlies are back there somewhere. Turn on like a 45 degree. I'm going to re-engage. Yep.
Attention, fighters. 2 o'clock.
Alright, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick white flight on them.
5. Copy. Engaging bandits.
But I'm going to keep the other 4 with me. Because I think there's going to be more of them. But we're also going to loosely follow them. Because what we'll do is we'll let them engage. There's 1 per target. And then the rest of the fighters will jump the other 2. And it'll be a classic 6-on-1. And put it on the hub. And so we have an altitude advantage, so I'm going to go ahead and null out our climb. Maybe even let us start a small descent. So I'm keeping that 500 feet a minute descent in. That'll give us a little bit more speed. And basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to get the plane to 200 right now. Let's go ahead and just trim in at 200. Now, our trim settings are going to be slightly off because of the fact that I'm more or less trimming to a descent, but alright, now I should be able to feel combat speed a little easier.
Heading 240, altitude 05. Attention, fighters, 11 o'clock high. Attention, beginning our attack run. Black, commence the attack. This is 2, roger, beginning our attack. This is 3.
Bombs.
5, beginning our attack, anybody. Need some help over here. Attention, beginning our attack run. Commence the attack. This is second flight. Roger, beginning our attack. This is 6, roger, beginning our attack. 7, copy. Attacking now. This is 5. This is 3. Headed. I'm bailing out. We'll take care of them. This is 1. Bombs away. This is 2. Bombs away. This is 2. Target on fire. Direct hit. This is 7. Got him. He's on fire. Attention, fighters. Get ahead.
Oh shit!
This is 2. Anybody, get him off me.
Get the nose down. Down, 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 down. There we go.
Good deal is going down. This is 5. Firing rocket. This is 4. Anybody. Get him off me. This is 2. Sam, get him off me. This is 5. Anybody. This is 2. Some help over here. I'm bailing out. This is 2. Damn it, I'm hit. This is 3. Copy. Attacking bandit.
The fact that there's a 5 by his name is not encouraging.
Bailing out. This is 5. I'm taking hit. This is 7.
Oh, that's why! Come on, 4. Come on, see him, see him.
Attack him with rocket.
You've got to be shitting me.
This is 3. Roger. We'll take care of them.
Oh, good old Devo. Zeros, man. Gotta love them. Cool thing is they'll be watching this back and figuring out what I did wrong.
This is 6. Anybody, clear my tail.
You can see the Marines. They're on the beach. And they're pretty much safe where they're at. They're not going to get blown up.
This is 6. I'm
Right
going
now.
down. This is 6.
Oop.
Mayday, mayday, I'm going down.
Oh!
This is 2. Anybody, clear my tail.
Yeah, they're forming a landing pattern. So they must be stationed here after all. I thought maybe there was a carrier around somewhere. Well, that's enough for tonight. Well, we made one mission forward. I'll have to do that again and try and figure out a way to survive. Usually staying high, staying as a group. I think maybe chasing those two all over the place and getting my flight out of position. I should have made contact with the F6F element that I was defending, because the Japanese planes pretty much managed to end up in a big ball where we were, but we were split up in two different places, and they kind of defeated us in detail. Took out, scattered us. F4s, we ended up outnumbered, and then by the time the F6Fs showed up and could maybe, help it, they were in their bombing run. But that bombing run means that they're going to be coming out the bottom, which is not the way that you want to fight a zero. We kind of screwed up the high fight, but whew, what a time. I haven't gotten to fly, and I don't even know how long. That was refreshing. Even though it didn't end well, but I'm tired. Like I said, I haven't flown a while, and Iwo Jima is probably the most absolutely ruthless environment to fly in that you can have. So, 5:15 a.m. Happy Friday.